Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pole on the Call podcast. My name is Mændy Mac,
And I am Cris Rivers.
and today we are so excited to be here to talk about elevating the art of teaching with the amazing pole coach, Michelle Stanek.
Yes.
Yay!
Oh,
Hi.
it's truly. Thank you for being here. I've heard so much about you from Mandy, and I can't wait to virtually learn more.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I love you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, love you too. You were one of my favorite because I also loved Laura Michaels from my teacher training and elevated back in 2017. And you've been such an inspiration to me. So I'm super excited to circle back and learn more about you.
I love it. I love it. And I was saying earlier, I'm like, my work here is done. When I do a teacher training and someone goes and like puts beautiful things into the pole world like you're doing, like I feel like I had a little part in that and I'm good. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, well, I guess we should start back to the beginning of your pole dancer journey. When did that start and how?
I really need to go into the archives and find out when I took my first class. I took it at Crunch Gym sometime, I think in 2006. I think it's very blurry. Those years, like between like 2005 and 2007, are a little blurry for me. But I think I took my first class in 2006 at Crunch Gym, and I had danced my whole life, did all the things. And then one day, my coworker, Kelly, shout out Kelly McLaughlin, we worked together at a design organization, like a real muggle job. And she's like, "Do you want to take this dance class with me, this pole dancing class at Crunch?" And I was like, "Okay." I went and I was a slippery hot mess, literally, did not know a thing about shit, nothing, did not know anything, but I had so much fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those classes where you can just like fail and fail and fail and fall and slip, but love it. It's like there's nothing like it. So I was like, well, this was enjoyable and painful. I'm coming back next week, you know? And that was it. The rest is history. And I really, just like so many people, like you take your first class and then you take the second one. Then all of a sudden you're going twice a week because you're like, well, this is so addictive. And then it's like 3 times a week. And then it just takes over. And here we are, almost 20 years later, like 19 years later, still kicking it.
I love it all because of Kelly and Crunch Gym. I,
And Kelly introduced me to my husband too, which is funny. So she's a good friend.
yes. OMG. And when did you start making the transition from being a student into teaching?
I remember Crunch had an open audition. So the way they brought in instructors was basically you had to audition to teach at Crunch, whether you wanted to do cycling classes or kickboxing or personal training or any of the group fitness, you had to go through like an open audition, which is fun. Growing up as a dancer, like I'm no stranger to auditioning. But I knew and they knew that I wanted to teach pole because it was so new back then, and that there was 2, 3 teachers that no one really had experience doing this form of dance at all. And we were just kind of literally piecing it together from YouTube videos. So they knew they needed to like expand the pole team. But I went into the group fitness audition and I did like, 6 counts of 8 aerobics choreography. And I don't even think they had poles up. You know what I mean? I don't even think, or maybe they did. Maybe like part 2 of the audition was like they had a room, they set up poles, and we had to, do like a sample of like how you would teach a dip turn or something like that. So it was just an audition. And I think that was probably 2008, I want to say, and I started teaching at Crunch. And I taught it like so many in the city. I was that person that just had my backpack on all day. And I was like, I got a 9 o'clock class at Union Square, and then I got a noon class on the Upper East Side, then I got to go to the Upper West Side, and then I got to go to Park Slope, Brooklyn, and I was just like teaching here and there and everywhere. So that's how I started. I started at Crunch Gym. I started teaching pole dancing and other group fitness classes as well, like aerobics and sexy stretch, and I don't even know. but that's it. That's how I started. And then Body and Pole opened, in 2009, I think. They rented a space in the back of a yoga studio on Elizabeth Street, in the East Village. That was it. Two poles, one little room. And that's where Body and Pole started. And I started teaching there in 2009. And I don't teach at Crunch anymore. I think technically I'm on the sub list, but still at Body and Pole.
Wow.
That's
That's
incredible. I didn't even know Crunch is still a gym. That's incredible. And then Body and Pole started with two poles.
Mm.
Wow. In the back of your, I've been to Body and Pole, so I'm just like thinking about it, how much it's changed.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, 10,000 square feet and three floors,
Right.
and, humble beginnings. We all started humble beginnings. And I remember unpacking the poles and the mirrors and like helping opening up the first space. It's wild. And then they broke down a wall, so it became four poles. And then the yoga studio, I think, lost their lease or something, and onward and upward to uptown.
That's incredible. I also didn't know the history of Body and Pole because it seems like they've always been there.
Well, that, for like, a long time they've been up there, but yeah, that's the beginning. Technically, it started in Leanne's apartment with one pole in her living room. Uh, it's wild. I love it.
That's so cool. Oh, do you want to talk to us a bit about your competition experience?
God. Ooh. Oh, the competition world. Wow. Yeah. So man, I remember I did my first competition in 2010, Polesque. I don't know if you remember that. They don't do it anymore, but it was like kind of local. It was in Brooklyn, and it was sort of like a pole slash burlesque competition, just one pole, no spinny, all static, one pole. And you did your routine, and I did a Leonard Cohen song, "I'm Your Man," and I was like very into like gender roles back then. Even that, like I just, did a deep dive into gender. And so I did this piece to "I'm Your Man" by Leonard Cohen, who I also love. He's just that creepy voice, Oh, I love that. And then it was like a dance off. So the final four, I think, had to do a dance off battle, and I won. And I think the move that got me the winning was the knee hold. This was like my move back then. Like, you side climb and do a knee hold, and then you can shake your butt. Like if you release the tension in your glutes, you like shake your butt, and people, like, the crowd went wild. You know what I mean? That's all it took back then. A jade split and a knee hold with a booty shake, and you win. So that was my first competition, and that was just fun. But I think that kind of propelled me down that pathway of this new competition thing. And then I did East Meets West. They don't do that anymore. There was pole drama. I won that one too. So I was like kind of on a roll. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling my style. I'm feeling my vibe. Like my style was starting to come together. Kind of creepy, sexy, contemporary, like kind of hard, and I was like, I'm gonna go with this. And then the big one was the USPDF 2011. That was the amateur. So I won that one. That was great. And then the next year I won the USPDF Pro, and I think that was 2012. And that was sort of the, you know, the pinnacle for me, the point, and that competition piece too, like I still get compliments on it. People still share it. I think it was a really powerful piece. Like all the universe just aligned and everything came together with the choreography and the music and my body and everything. And I loved that competition piece. I loved it. I viscerally remember the details of being on that stage. I really do. And that I can talk about that for a very long
Is that
time.
the cat one?
What? Yes. Yeah.
Yes, that was my favorite one ever.
No, me too. Like funny thing is, little segue. After that, I went on like tours. Like that's sort of what took me into the next level of pole touring and teaching and performing and stuff. I went on a tour and I was in Florida. And after my workshops, they were like, "Could you do your competition piece? Could you do this?" And I was like, "Sure." I got 32 seconds into it and I was like, cut. got the music. I couldn't, you know what I mean? It was like, it was one time only. One time only. I don't, the energy, the adrenaline, the training, like I can never do that piece again. Not even like a month later, I was like, no, no, we're done here. We're done here. Watch the video. It's on YouTube. But yeah, that was my favorite one of my favorite times on stage. And then I think that was the last solo competition I did. And then I did, oh my God, was it? Oh man, I don't remember. I think the last competition I ever did was in 2015 or 2016. And that was Miss Pole Dance America that Alethea produced in Nashville with Era. So it was like a group pole and hammock and silk performance, and we won that one too. And then I'm like, oh, unofficially retired.
Do you ever think about competing now? I love it. Thank you for the honesty.
No, not a chance. No way. No. I mean, like a hard no, period. I mean, it's like, of course, never say never, but no, I don't want to compete. To be honest with you, this is like full disclosure. I did not have a really good work-life balance when I was competing. I was very much like, this is it. Like I have this is my focus, singular. I had a singular focus at the time, for months, like it takes a long time to do the training and get your body conditioned, and then the pole stuff, and then the choreography and the music and the costumes. And I go deep down into that hole, and I don't resurface until it's over. And it just takes a lot out of me. And I'm like, I'm not willing to do that again. Performing, yes. You know what I mean? Love performing, love being on the stage if the time is right and everything is right. But competition, like, props to all the competitors out there right now still doing it. I love it. It's freaking awesome. I love supporting them, judging them. But, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it again. Plus, I mean, what category would I do? I mean, like old masters level 2, maybe? Floor work? I don't know. I'm not breaking my body. I'm not breaking my body. It's already broken. We're in the rehab stage of life. I'm in the rehab era.
Right. I'll be in that category too. I love it.
Okay.
Floor work for bad knees.
I love
That needs to be a category, like pole dancing for people that have no more cartilage in their joints.
Yes.
What can you do? Wow us with your floor work.
Low flow for pullers who have fear of heights
I
from
know.
what they've done.
I think we might be onto something. This could actually be quite interesting if we created these like very specific categories that are very relatable to people, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's brainstorm. Let's brainstorm this later.
love this.
Yes.
It would be so funny. It would be people would be like, "Yes, I'm entering that category. I'm entering the category of don't take off my sweatpants."
Yes.
Heels and sweatpants, or oh my God, that'd be fun. I love that look.
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing it. Coming in 2026.
I love that. There are other dancers who are going through the same stuff. So definitely thank you for sharing that.
Of course. We're not alone. We are not alone.
Yay. We've talked about loving performing still. Have you done any performances lately you want to share, or upcoming?
Not lately. So upcoming, I am going to Canada to judge Pole Theater Canada, and that's in June. So I think as a judge, you do like a guest performance, and I have not figured out what I'm going to do. And I'm like just still in the exploration stage. So that's coming up. And it's hard when you're like, oh, what could I do? I could do anything. I'm like, do I want to do sexy? Do I want to do heels? Do I want to do contemporary? Do I want to do like really, really weird? Like sometimes I just want to do weird. Right. So I don't know. I'm just like in that. I love that phase too of just like full creation. Nothing is off the table. But the last performance I did like live in front of real people. I did a few during COVID that were just online, which were actually really fun. I think it was at the Slipper Room in the Lower East Side. I did like a little pole show down there, maybe like 2 years ago, I think. I'm just like, I'm an old lady mama now. Like I am in bed. That's the thing. Like if you want me to perform, is there an 11 o'clock a.m. show? Because that is like prime energy time for me. I am awake. My body is ready. I am focused. But no, it's always like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, usually I've been in bed for an hour. Like that's the hard part, to be honest. Like the times of the performances, I'm like, oh, pass. Hard pass for me. I'm in bed by 9 o'clock.
I feel that too. So our competition will be in the afternoon. We'll serve coffee.
So great. This is so great. We'll serve brunch. There'll be biscuits and coffee and tea. And you'll be out of there by like 2, 3 o'clock. You could have a whole evening, get in bed by 8:30. Oh my God. This is genius.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. I love this.
I love we're gonna have to patent it and everything.
I know. I'm really into this. I love these things. Like who knew this would be a topic of conversation, but we were onto something.
Yes. OMG.
Necessary.
So what brought you into, I know there's probably a lot, but savage, pole, and wellness. And I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but please elaborate on that.
You nailed it. Savage, pole, and wellness. Yes. So the word savage is straight up from the Megan Thee Stallion song, Savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet. I was like, I have never related to a song more in my life. So I love the word too. I love the word savage. I love, what it stands for and stuff. And then I created a team. I don't really want to talk about those because this is like in the past, but I was working with Body and I created a team of coaches and I called it Team Savage. And that's just, it kind of was like a Team Savage. Like let's just call it that because I love the name of the song and all the things. And then that sort of went away. But I still liked, the brand of Savage. So that's how I started Savage Pole and Wellness. I just kept it going and just put it into a more specific genre of pole dancing and teacher training and things like that. So Savage Pole and Wellness was born out of my work with Body and my team and Megan Thee Stallion. That's the story.
And we will have all those links in the comments of the notes. Do you mind giving us a couple resources that it offers for pole dancers so they know what they're looking into?
Yeah. So I think my calling, that was like the weird word choice, but I love teaching pole dancing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love everything about it. But I really, really love education. And I think I've always in some way been a teacher, been an educator, been a sharer of knowledge and empowerment my whole life, whether I was teaching dance or art history. I taught art history as a professor for many years back in the day, and started teaching dance and movement and pole dancing. So I love teaching and I take teaching very seriously, not like you have to be like very serious all the time and it's like that, but I just think the role of teacher is so profound in the world and it's underestimated, and there are a lack of resources for teachers to be better, and I just am very passionate about the role of teacher and providing resources for pole teachers to build their confidence in the classroom, and have a giant library of tools that they can use in their class to bring their class above and beyond. I have it's a free teacher training course called Beyond Basic. And I literally mean, I'm like, Beyond Basic. Don't just show up to your class, flip on the lights, turn on your music, and teach moves and be like, great class, everybody. Like, yes, you want to teach great classes, excellent classes, but in that little pocket of time that you have, and time is our most valuable resource we never get back. You cannot recreate more time. So don't waste it. If you have a 90-minute class, a 60-minute class, whatever, like, oh man, that 60 minutes can be so awesome, like so beyond basic. Yes, teach moves. Yes, like have your students leave learning a new skill. But what else can you do to make it memorable, to make it cathartic, to make it hilarious, to make it anything like just above and beyond what you normally get in a regular workout class? Because this isn't dance, this isn't ballet, this isn't cycling, this isn't group fitness, this is pole. And in pole, when you have a class, you have carte blanche, you have artistic freedom and liberties to do whatever you want, and you can. But a lot of teachers don't. Maybe it's lack of experience or lack of confidence. I'm finding a lot that they just kind of like go through the motions and do the basics and check the boxes or teach the way you were taught. And so I'm trying to create resources to help create confidence and allow instructors to kind of just push the edges and go above and beyond and offer more. And like, no one wants to be basic, And so that's kind of my focus right now is creating a lot of resources for teachers. And that's creative movement exercises, icebreakers, bonding exercises. There was a full moon last night. I love doing full moon ceremonies with my class. It doesn't take long, 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, but it's like, oh, a little extra something. I paid $35 for this class and I thought I was just going to learn pole, but I actually learned that it's a new moon and I have a new ritual I can bring into my life. You know what I mean? Like little things like that really make a difference in people's lives. And I'm very passionate about that. Teachers make differences in lives, and pole dancing is no different, and even though it's silly and fun and, some people don't take it seriously, it's another topic for another day. It's still a really profound role to have as a pole teacher. So that's my goal. That's my focus in life.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, especially the full moon ceremony, because it's so funny. I was just thinking about some type of workshop with that theme.
Right.
I love it.
I have my crystals charging on my windowsill right now to soak up the full moon was yesterday. I think like last night was full moon.
Yep.
Right.
Which leads us into the topic of elevating our class. And it seems like you have so many resources on this and have a lot of experience with it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the first things I talk about when I do these, teacher trainings, and it's not really a teacher training, which is another thing I like about what I'm doing. Like teacher trainings are great. I co-created and launched Expert back in the day. Same thing with Elevated, and Mandy, you had done Elevated. And I think teacher trainings are great, but it's not the end, right? Like you have to keep going, keep learning, be a voracious consumer of knowledge and education and experience to keep improving your craft of teaching. So they're not teacher trainings. So it's not like 1, 2, 3 days and then you pass and get a certification, then you're done. I like to create these little like bits and bobs of things that you can just continually educate yourself, and do like a 1-hour course or a master class or whatever. So I'm creating these like little master classes, think tanks, things like that for teachers. But one of the first things I ask when I do these is like, who are your favorite teachers like in your life? Just think about it, and like, who's the first person to pops into your head? Miss Morello, 6th grade history. Why? I don't even know. Think about it. Like, why was she better than all the other teachers that you don't remember in 6th grade? You had like 6 or 7 teachers. Why didn't they stand out in your head? Like my dance teacher, Alexei Ramoff. Oh my God, completely changed the course of my life. Same thing with my art history professor freshman year in college. You're like, who are the teachers in your life that had a profound impact on you, who you are today? Think about them. Think about why. Then be that person, and then we go through a series of exercises to help you create that confidence and be that teacher that people remember a year from now, 20 years from now. Like sitting around Christmas dinner and be like, I remember I had this pole teacher back in 2024 and she really changed my life. Be that person, and it's going above and beyond. Like every pole teacher teaches moves. That's what we do. You can't teach a pole class without teaching pole moves. But what about you is different? It makes you stand out. What did you bring to your class? So we go through a lot of series of creative exercises together and like brainstorming and bouncing ideas off of each other and what you can bring into your class. Like, what's your experience in work, in life? What do you do outside of pole? How can you bring that knowledge into the pole classroom in a meaningful, not like a kitschy, stupid way, you know what I mean? But like in a meaningful way, that you can bring in your experience into your pole classroom to make you iconic, and your classes, the ones that people want to book into because they are booked up and they have to book 6 months in advance because your classroom experience is above and beyond everyone else's because fill in the blank, So those are the resources that I'm putting out there. And I've got a free course, which was pretty great. I don't even know why I made it free, but like it should cost money, but it's free. And it kind of just like gets those gears turning in your brain. And then what I'm really excited about is I'm doing a series of 4 master classes in the think tank in, probably January or February, where we have like topics of discussion, and it's going to be like dance psychology, dance teacher psychology, and like the archetype of teacher, which I went down like a real awesome rabbit hole of archetypes when I used to work with Jungian psychoanalysts in Italy every summer for a couple years. That is a long story. But I got really into the work of Carl Jung and archetypes. So I sat in all the sessions, I listened to everything, and I read these books, and I went to like online lectures and all this stuff. And it's fascinating. And like, how can I bring that into pole? Very applicable, like very applicable. So, oh my God, what was I even talking about? I lost my train of thought. Jungian archetypes of pole. What was the question?
Philosophy.
What about the workshops you're creating in
Oh,
January?
the think tanks. Yes. So we're going to start there. Thank you for bringing that back on track. We're going to start there, and then you'll have like homework, kind of like a little bit what we talked about. Like, think about the teachers you had in your life that were excellent and why, and what makes you excellent, and then we'll come back together and talk about it. And then we'll do the next topic, which is probably going to be something like icebreakers and bonding and why it's not bullshit, why it's real, and it doesn't need to take up a lot of your class time. It's not going to eat into class time, but like if you just carve out 2 to 5 minutes and do a little like bonding exercise, psychologically, what does that do for you and your students, the relationship between the students and each other and you and the students? And it's a really beautiful thing. And then you'll have homework and we'll come back and talk about it. And then we kind of keep going like that for a few different topics. And my favorite topic is probably creative movement and why that is very important in terms of neurological brain function in human beings. And again, that's what takes you above and beyond when you start to understand how these little things that you're doing in your pole class that probably only take 2 to 3 minutes are affecting someone's entire life and cognitive function and carving new neurological pathways that help them not just learning pole and becoming more fluid and defining their own style and the confidence they have as pole dancers, but the confidence they have as a human, and having the balls to get out of a toxic relationship because they've built something up in your class that wasn't there before, or ask for a raise, because they know that they can handle it. They know that they can ask for it and they have that strength and that power and that confidence and all these things that you can start. They might not know it, but you do. You know what I mean? And how you can start to develop their brain function through movement, creative movement and dance. And That's my favorite. I will die on that mountain of creative movement exercises and how they should be incorporated in like every single pole class, even pole sport class. What, you know what I mean? Like it's got to be a human thing. And then we'll have homework and we'll come back together. So it's master classes, information and knowledge sharing, but also a lot of like community, and I think that's really important. Bouncing ideas off of each other. I can't have all the answers. That's another part of the archetype of teacher. The teacher isn't the sage or the mother or the father or the all-knowing one. Those are different archetypes. Teacher is co-learner. Always. That's the archetype of teacher. It's like you have information to share, but you're always open and learning and absorbing and getting better. So the archetype of teacher is balanced by two different archetypes, like the sage and the novice. They're together as the teacher. So I think creating a community where, you can share your idea, and bounce it off of each other and practice exercises that you're creating, and get feedback, not just from me, but from a group of people. And like, we'll have a little chat pod so we can always stay, connected and ask questions. And we'll have weekly Zooms for probably like 4 to 6 weeks, depending on like the time of the year. And I think it's going to be just really powerful to help pole instructors be like, okay, I can take it up a notch. Like I have the support, I have the resources, I have the community, that I can just start going up a notch, and like not completely overhauling their class, but like maybe adding one little thing in and being like, oh, I did it. I did something different. I added a little something different in my class this week. Maybe next month I'll do another little thing. And then like over time, in a few years, it's like you become that iconic, memorable, confident, life-changing instructor.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is a lot that you're planning on coming up.
No, I'm so ready for it. I mean, truthfully, like I've been doing this my whole life. You know what I mean? Like everything has brought me to this place, and now it's just editing, right? Like there's so much in here that it's like, okay, now we have to focus it and start editing and, getting it together. But I feel like this is what my whole life training has been leading to. Truly, that sounds like so like woo-woo, but I really feel like everything has led me to this moment. And before I forget, I just got back from Mexico on Friday. It's Monday right now, and the way the universe works is amazing. Like everything just started falling into like this weird place, and I'd always wanted to host a retreat for years. It's always been in my brain. And then my friend Rochelle, who's an event planner extraordinaire, was like, have you ever been to Tulum? I was going to do a retreat there, but it kind of fell through for this other person. Are you interested? I was like, I am interested, actually. So we went to Tulum to do research, which was awesome. I had never been to Tulum before. And it's a magical place. And we found this really amazing jungly, healing. It really feels like a true retreat. It's called Holistica. And they do Temescal ceremonies and sonic psychedelic ceremonies and Wim Hof ceremonies and yoga and pottery and all these like creative things. But it's a true retreat, true retreat space for healing, for movement. They have hammocks set up there. They have like an aerial studio. And then there's a pole studio 10 minutes down the street, 15 minutes walking maybe. And we found it by chance. We were looking for another pole studio, which we never found. And my friend was like, is that a studio? Do you see that sign? It was like back in an alley. And I was like, yeah, that looks like a studio. So we went back and we checked out, and this is beautiful, like open air pole and aerial studio in Tulum. And I was like, there was no one there either. And we just like walked right in. We're like, this is kind of awesome. Like, where did this come from? And then we met this girl outside. She's like, are you taking class? And we were like, oh no, sorry. Like we were just trespassing, kind of. And she was like, oh, no, it's okay. She's like, I'm a student here. And then we started chatting, and then she invited us to a stargazing ceremony later that night. Like, and then I posted about the studio in my Instagram stories, and one of my friends was like, oh, that's my friend's studio. And so she connected us, and she's like, oh, I've been wanting to host people here to do like pole movement retreats. And I was like, this is just everything. And you know what I mean? Is like falling into place. So that is also coming up. Obviously, it's going to be like a year away. People need to save money and like bookmark that time. But I do want to do a movement healing pole retreat. It's not going to be one of those pole retreats where it's like you have 5-6 hours of polling all day, every day. It's really going to be more than that, you know, like a true retreat, a healing mind, body, and spirit. Plus, you'll learn some like sick pole moves too. But it's gonna be cool. I'm really excited. Really excited. I had never done like a Temescal ceremony before. I had no idea what it was. I don't know if you guys have done it, but it's intense.
I have not, but it sounds like a fun experience.
It is. It's cool. You should come to the retreat. You go into it's like a sweat lodge. It's this ancient, you know, Mesoamerican tradition where you get into a sweat lodge. It's pitch black. You can't see anything. And they just put these volcanic stones. It's like a sauna, but times 1,000, which is it's intense. And you're in there for about 90 minutes. And there's they do like it's like north, south, east, west. And they have like ritual, like you do chanting, and when that drum beat starts and you kind of get into it and like you're sweating, you're purging so many things. And you go deep inside, like you literally can't see anything. It's a like cool. I was like, I might pass out in here, and you know, this might be the end for me, but it's cool. It's like the only way out is through, you know, and it's one of those things like if you can get through this, then you can get through anything. And again, it's like that metaphor, like just like pole dancing. If you can get through this pain of Superman, you can get through the pain of almost anything in life. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for the retreat.
I was like, so much fun. The universe is just throwing it at you.
I know, but I really feel I work with the universe, you know, like I have my own rituals that I do to get on the same frequency and and it works, you know what I mean? And like that we could talk about that another hour, another day, you know, but it really does work once you start to tap into the energies of the universe, like magical things like this start happening. Could it be coincidence? Sure. We don't know, but it's all happening. So something's working.
A coincidence until you notice it.
Yeah, you have to have like that antenna, you know, like turn it on. A lot of people don't have their antennas on, so they never see it. Or they're not open to it, you know, but like once you're like boop, 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 boop.
Yes.
You have to notice it.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for making these amazing resources available for teachers. I know like after like the teacher training that I did was amazing, but it was like, and now you're a teacher. And I definitely didn't feel ready. So I definitely appreciate like also like ongoing support too, not just like, here's another thing. Listening to other communities is important because not everything will work for everyone. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. We got to keep learning. ABL, always be learning, you know?
Love it. And this is all available on your website?
Yeah, savagepoleandwellness.com is my website, and everything is available there. And I'm very highly accessible on Instagram, Facebook, email, you know, it's all there. So yeah.
So we're gonna have all those links in the comments and notes, y'all. Make sure you check those out. So I know when you were mentioning the think tank that you were planning, you brought up some good things, good ways to elevate classes, such as icebreakers and community building techniques. What are some other ways that we can elevate classes if we have been, let me say, I was gonna say for a new teacher, and then maybe for someone who has been doing it for years and is looking to, change it up.
I mean, I think So I teach a lot of intro classes as well, even though I've been teaching pole for 15, 16, 17 years, like I still teach a lot of like beginners and intros. And I know that's where a lot of people start. They get hired at a studio. It's like, okay, you have a class that's intro or whatever. So, and I think intro is the best because they're going to love it or they're not. And it's not for everybody, right? Like pole dancing isn't for everybody. Not everybody's going to stay. But those that do are like so badass and exciting. I love teaching intro, and that's where a lot of new teachers start, because that's what they can kind of be like trusted with in a way. So I think as a newbie, a new instructor, confidence is hard. And I have found that the one thing that new instructors, even seasoned instructors, but new instructors really panic about is their warm up. They really stress about warm up, and I get it. I'm there with you. You know what I mean? It's all eyes on you. You know what I mean? You're at the front of the room. Everyone's watching you. They're nervous. You know what I mean? They don't want to mess up. It's like a new environment for the students too. Like maybe they've never taken a dance class ever, and it's a thing. Like warm up is a thing. So when I'm working with new instructors, I'm always like, you practice your warm up just like anything else, just like you're going to practice a pole trick to just get it and get it and get it. Practice your warm up. And that's why I am here, So I will have people send me their videos of their warm up. That's like 15 or 20 minutes or whatever it is. And I'll give them feedback. And it's so helpful. They love it so much because they're like, thank you. And then like when they feel confident in warm up, because it's the first thing you do, they're like, it's like almost like smooth sailing, because it's like once you get into the pole work, it's like that's where your confidence is. Like, how to do it. They don't, so it's like they're confident in that. But like getting your warm up to a place where like you're enjoying it, you don't feel like it's annoying, exhausting, repetitive, you know what I mean? Or like stressful, like when you get to the point where like you like your warm up, it feels good. You're happy. Your students are happy, and like little skills like break down the fourth wall in warm up. You don't have to be on all the time. And I see this all the time, especially in new instructors. It's like they flip a switch on and it never stops. It's like and it's almost like they disassociate. Because they just want to get through the warm up, and they have it mapped out. They have their songs and the moves to the songs and the BPMs and but it's like they disassociate and they're not there. It's like, take a breath, break down the fourth wall between you and your students. It's okay to talk to them during warm up. Little things like, do you feel this? Do you guys feel this in your obliques right now? And they'll be like, holy shit, yes. Little moments like that break the ice, help everyone in the room like feel comfortable, or if you're like, do you feel this in your obliques? And they're like, no, then it's time to reevaluate. Like, are you not describing it right? Is it not a good move? You know what I mean? It's just not effective. But like talking to your students, I think is a difficult skill, something that you don't even think about really when you're teaching or doing a teacher training, breaking down that fourth wall and like talking to your students and having those moments of, we're all in this together. You're human. I'm human. We're here. Let's talk, and that doesn't mean chit chat and, gossip and talk about The Bachelor. You know what I mean? Like you can't take it too far where you lose the like efficacy of the warm up. There's a balance, and it's hard to find that balance. But I think that is really key for all instructors, especially new ones, to get into that place of like, I am the teacher. I have the moves. I have the lesson plan. I have the confidence, but I don't have to be on. And it just like brings your nervous system down a little bit and makes the entire experience a lot more enjoyable. So I think warm up, getting comfortable with warm up, breaking down that fourth wall, and like humanizing that experience without taking it a little too far into casual land is really important. But again, for seasoned instructors too, and a lot of seasoned instructors are tired. They're tired. We are tired. We've been doing this for years, and maybe we teach 3 classes a day back to back, or, like we're doing it after work, you know, like we're tired. So finding those moments in warm up where you can stop doing it. That doesn't happen in the beginning. That doesn't happen for a new instructor. It didn't happen for me for a very long time. But where you can get to a place where you can like talk through a warm up, demonstrate a little bit, but like not have to do the whole thing, where you can get up, walk around, adjust people, give them some like little enhancements to their body. Like when you're in a yoga class and someone like presses your shoulders down, you're like, oh, that felt good. Like, how can you do that in your warm up as a seasoned instructor is pretty awesome too. You know what I mean? Like getting just moving around and getting off your spot and not getting exhausted. You know, burnout is real. So if you can find little tools to use that just help you not burn out and not get exhausted, because then when you get exhausted, you get resentful. And then that energy starts to read. Like, have you ever taken a class where you're like, this teacher's in a bad mood today? She's in a bad mood. She's annoyed at everybody. She has no patience. We've all done it. We're human. Like we've all taught classes in that headspace and we've all taken classes when the instructor, and you're like, you don't want that. You don't want that. So if you can like build in little things, especially in the beginning of class, during warm up, adding little things in that just take the pressure off of you. Oh my God, like sustainable careers, you know, and less resentment, less burnout. So I think those are like just little tips, like finding ways to like take the pressure off you. Another little thing I like to do is like bonding exercises in the beginning. And like it's simple, but like after warm up, it's like, okay, who knows each other in this room right now? You know, like who came as friends today, or who knows each other? And maybe it'll be like, did these two know each other here? These three came together, or like no one knows anybody, or whatever. So it's like, okay, break up, like meet one person that you don't know yet, like pair up with somebody. And for the next 1 minute, maybe two, introduce yourself. You know what I mean? Like, who are you? What's your name? And like, why pole dancing? Like, what has inspired you to take pole dancing? And that's nice because it gives you a second to be like, drink your water. Not the whole room is staring at you, drinking your water, waiting to see what you're going to do next. You know, it's like, give me a second, yo. Give me a second to like drink my water, blow my nose. I don't know, like, you know, like, so it gives the energy to the room and it's nice. It's so nice because then they found a new friend. The energy shifts from being like nervous and like, I don't know, who is that? Is she really good? Is she going to make me feel like uncomfortable? Like, oh, she looks like a bitch over there. It's like, oh no, we're all, no, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, it helps the energy of everyone. For you, it gives you a second to like take a beat, breathe, get your energy back so you can teach the rest of the class, but it also gives your students the time to like bond with each other and make a new friend and, you know, just feel a little bit more comfortable. So like little things like that, I think are massively helpful.
Yes. Right. Thank you for reminding me of the anxiety of everyone looking at me while I'm trying to drink my water and not spill it on myself.
Right? It's wild. You're like, just drinking my water over here, but they're just like clocking you, like clocking every move that you're doing. So it's nice to just say like,
Yes.
you do something.
I also appreciate the reminders for like seasoned instructors to be real and authentic. I used to be so worried about like incorporating balancing stuff in my warm-ups, even though I know it's very important, but I suck at balancing. And then when I just decided to suck at balancing in front of everyone.
Exactly. Like that is like the mark of an excellent instructor, though. You know, like you're humanizing the experience and like you're not a robot. You're a human, and like some days your balance is awesome, and some days and that is everyone. Everyone, even Misty Copeland, you know what I mean? She probably sucks at pirouettes some days, maybe not, maybe she's quite a robot. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's totally normal and you have to embrace it. And it makes everybody be like, okay, we're all okay.
Yeah. Right. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
I appreciate you mentioning too. I mean, you mentioned a lot, but the first one was practicing your warm up, like if you practice the tricks, because I'm a strong believer in that. And it definitely does help make the warm up kind of flow. And then the second thing, because I've been stuck in my head lately, is I'm at the point where I'm starting to not completely do the warm up. I demo what needs to be done, and then I start walking around to make sure they're doing it. And at first, I was like, Chris, maybe you should be doing it with him. But then I'm like, no, why? As long as you're walking around doing it right and you demo it. So it's nice to get that, how do you say, that reassurance.
Yeah. That's so great. I just took a yoga class when I was at Tulum. I'm like, he did not do one move. Not one. Not one warrior pose, not one downward dog. He did nothing. He just walked around and talked the whole time, and we all just figured it out. You know what I mean? And like, we're here for yoga, so we're gonna do it. Like you don't need to do it. It's like what you said, like do it a little bit and then let them do it. They paid. You know what I mean? Like they paid their money, so they're gonna do it or they're not gonna do it. And like you can't, like there's gonna be people in the back of the room not doing shit. And what are you gonna do? They volunteered to be here and they paid their own money. And you do what you can and move on. That's a big one too. You know what I mean? Like not taking it personally when someone is just like half-assing it, right? You're like, why? What are you doing back there? And then you get angry about it. But then it's like, just let it go. Let it go. And then this happens to me often. I'm like, are you okay? And they'll be like, I'm really hungover. I'll be like, good information to know. I'm not going to push you, but it's like, I didn't know that before. Or they'll be like, I'm on a traincation. This is my sixth class of the day. I'll be like, please rest, like take notes, but it's, yeah, people not taking it personally is also an important skill of a teacher, right? Right. Yeah.
Right. It's not our job to make everyone happy. It's only to teach pole dancing.
Yeah. You know?
Right. Some people come in with like stuff that might have happened right before class and they're not fully with it. But they just need to move. So just allowing them that space is super important. Yeah.
Oh, totally.
And not taking it personally.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's also another reason to like always be learning. And like when you're a teacher, you're still a student. Like you have that, like I go to a class and sometimes I'm in a great mood and I can't wait. And so other times I'm like, oh man, I paid for this class. I have to go. And I'm just not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. And it is not personal to you. It's me. But like, yes, if you just hold that space for me and allow me to do what I need to do and thank you. You know what I mean? Just, yes.
Right. Back to the warm-ups too. We're doing a teacher training program in our studio, and that's the main thing that our teacher trainees they were like, this warm-up is hard. Because you're right, it is all eyes on them for, at least, up to 10 minutes. So it's just, I like how you said practicing for video too, because that's what we've been doing and it has been really helpful. So
yes.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. I wonder too, do you have like a way you formulate warm-ups? Do you want to share some tips on like how you do a warm-up? Because I remember you had a really fun like across the floor, which I just remembered. I was like, oh, we should take our students across the floor more often. But it was like across the floor and you played like different songs and we had to like do a exercise according to like the feeling of the song. And it was really great.
Oh, I love that. I've not done that one in a long time actually, but I remember I think I have video of this.
I didn't think there was a video, yeah.
That's so funny. I have not even thought about that in a long time. I love those things. Those types of exercise I usually do after the warm up, after like the proper warm up. Then I'll be like, okay, now we're going to do this like across the floor, move like an animal or like move to the song or There was one time, this is not the question that you asked at all, but I made this amazing relay across the floor and we set up phones, and like some phones were like on the floor and some phones we put up on like yoga blocks, and it was like, okay, you have to like dive under. It's like pretend someone is filming themselves and you cannot walk in front of their camera. So it's like you had to like jump over the one that was on the floor, and then you had to like slide and do a body wave under the one that was like elevated. I don't know, all this, like, I love that kind of stuff, you know, and it's like, it's so silly, but it's like helpful. Like these are also skills. If you see that camera, you know someone's recording, you cannot stand in front of it. Got to go over it, you got to go under it. But for warm up, generally, my warm ups tend to be about, I say 15 to 20 minutes. You know, usually now they're not longer than 20 minutes. They used to be 30 minutes because our classes used to be 90 minutes. So my class, I know, right? I know. My more were more like 25 to 30 minutes. Now they're shorter. Now, you know, cut time out. But I always recommend, especially for intro and level one, start standing, you know, so just high visibility, everyone can see you. You know, sometimes in the studios, the mirrors don't even go to the floors, you know, so if you start on the floor, they can't see what you're doing. And like people are like you're doing crunch it, you know what I mean? They don't, it's like whatever. So like starting standing, I think is a good general way to start. Once you get to upper levels, you know what I mean? Like I like to start in like a child's pose or just literally laying on the ground. You know what I mean? But that's when people have a little bit more of like a better awareness of what they're doing here, you know, and they can kind of go with the flow a little bit more. But I think starting standing is really good. And synchronized movement is, you know, scientifically proven to like increase endorphins even more and like interconnectivity in the room. So if even it's like you have a really fun song that makes you happy, like a song that you love and you're standing and you're just like rocking the hips on the beat or something, that's like a win-win-win. You know what I mean? It's like you're standing, everyone can see you. Everyone's moving together in synchrony. So it's like the happy chemicals are coming, and you're warming up. You know what I mean? Like you're elevating body heat and the heart rate in a non-impact way. Like I do like jumping jacks and like gym cardio. I do, but do we have to do that in pole class? No, we don't. But you know what I mean? Like in a no impact way, that's like fun, maybe a little sassy. I think is a great way to start. You know what I mean? Like, but also whatever makes you feel good, you know, like if you really need to start a class with a head roll, start your class with a head roll. You know what I mean? If you really love starting with jumping jacks, start your class with jumping jacks. You know, like give a no impact option and then maybe get into some like gooey joint movement, you know, but do what makes you feel happy and good. Like it's like you don't put on other people's oxygen masks without, you know, you put your own first, you know, so like get yourself in a good headspace and like a good feeling and do what your body needs that is also going to help your students, like within reason, you know. Like I could forward bend easily. Like that's honestly one of the first things I do when I get to the studio, but like I'm not going to ask my students who've been sitting at a desk all day to like fold forward, you know. So just like think about what you like, and start there. And I think synchronized movement, standing to a fun song is just a great way to start also, you know. And then ask for feedback. Ask for feedback in your warm up, especially if like you have friends in your class or students you've known for a while. Be like, how do you feel after warm up? Just ask, you know, and like hopefully they're honest and they'll be like, I feel great. I love your warm ups. You're the best warm ups. You know, like I always feel ready to dance after warm ups. My hips feel great after warm ups. Or maybe they're like, I think you need to do a little bit more shoulder activation. That's a great note. You know what I mean? Like, what can you take out? Were you doing too much sassy stuff? You know what I mean? That wasn't really providing a lot of value. Like, can you take 30 seconds of that out and do some more I's, T's, and Y's or something? You know what I mean? Like, ask for feedback from students, or you know what I mean, or me, or somebody that you trust, and get feedback on the worm because you might be missing something and you don't know it. So yeah, those are just like a couple little warm-up tips that I think are helpful.
Thank you for those. I'm going to share them with our teacher trainees for sure. Actually, probably this whole episode so that they can learn from my teacher.
Awesome.
I feel feedback is probably one of the hardest things for instructors to ask for.
It is. Why? You know, I guess it's like fear of, I don't know, like feeling like you didn't do something right or something like that. But that gets into a whole like mindset shift thing. And like you choose how you react to that feedback. You can, choose to like cry and feel upset and feel rejected and feel less than and
Yes.
crappy about yourself, or you can choose to be like, okay, I can be better. It sounds simple. I know it's a lot of work. I do a lot of mindset work as well to get myself out of the gutter, out of the rut, you know what I mean? And into a better place. But you can choose. You choose how you take that information and react to it. Sometimes it feels like a punch in the gut. And like sometimes you can't you can't control the first reaction, but you can control the second one. You know what I mean? And how you take that information. But yeah, I agree. It's hard to ask for feedback because like you want to be perfect. You want to be, yeah, I get that. I get that too. But I do think it's really an important place to be as an instructor, is in that place of vulnerability and openness that you can ask for feedback and you can accept it and you can adjust as necessary. That's a huge.
Yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, don't take it personal. It's feedback.
Or ignore it altogether because we're not for everyone.
You're too funny. Depending on what the feedback is.
Yeah. Be careful like who you ask for feedback from. Someone that is going to give you like honest but constructive, feedback. We used to do secret shoppers sometimes, like plant someone in and they had like an evaluation form that they would fill out, and it would just be a student and he didn't know that they were like kind of like giving you feedback. They stopped doing that a long time ago. That was interesting, you know what I mean? So it's like you kind of have to be like on because you never know if you're gonna be, I don't know, maybe that's weird now that I think about it.
Right. Or as a studio owner, I'll be the undercover boss and show up to everyone's classes every so often.
Yeah, but then you make people nervous.
I know. I try not to.
Oh, but you can't help it. You cannot help it. I know. But like they'll see you and be like, oh my God, my boss is here today. Yeah.
I wonder if there are rules on that. Like I'm pretty sure like a boss can examine employees, but can they go undercover and examine like contractors teaching workshops and stuff?
Oh, good question.
So many things to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a clever idea. Like a McDonald's, what is a secret shopper?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Too funny.
Oh, we should get back to talking about you as a pole dancer and ask the burning questions that everyone always wants to know. What's your favorite pole trick?
Oh, God, that's right. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with Jade. The Jade split, right? Like I feel like that was like the big trick I learned back in like 2007, and I've been doing it ever since. So it's so easy at this point. It's like my resting pose that I can actually like breathe and like recoup some energy. I'm just like hit that Jade and people still love it. You know what I mean? Like it's not the most challenging move now, but people still think it's a cool move and it's kind of just like my resting place. And so I love the Jade. I love the Jade split. That's my answer.
I'm also team Jade, except I don't rest in it anymore because I've crunched my ribs too much.
Oh no.
Lay off the Jade.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
How do you crunch your ribs?
yeah, I'm hypermobile and they love the jades so much that they just stay in that position far long after.
Yeah.
Oh, to the G.
I know I have to do extra breathing exercises.
Wow.
That's me, but I do
Wow.
jade.
Mm.
Do you have a whole nemesis, Michelle?
You know, it's like almost embarrassing, but I don't understand the yogini. It's not even that hard, but I have never been able to do it successfully. And my body just rejects it. It rejects the move. And I can't, I've tried so many times. I have had Janine Butterfly try to teach me how to do it. Like, my body just rejects it and it's annoying to me. You know what I mean? It's my nemesis. I'm like, I should be able to do this move, but I can't. And my body just rejects it. It won't do it. It won't do it. So I'm like, I'm very annoyed with that move. And people even still do it anymore. I don't know. The other moves that I'm just like, I don't think I could ever do these. Like what people are doing now. I don't even know. It's like the hard style. Maybe that's what they're calling it. Where like I understand the physics of like being in your heels and like knee pads and like flipping around and then like landing on your knees. And like I know how you're not landing on your knees, the weight's going back but I'm like, God damn. Like that impact on the ankles and the knees and the hips. I'm like, holy, how are you people doing this over and over and over? What knee pads are you wearing? You know, like it is that style to me is like, I don't even want to try. I'm too, you know what I mean? Like maybe in a ball pit, if there was like a pole in a ball foam pit, I'll try it. But like, wow, wow to that. And like props to all y'all out there thrashing around and land. Oh my God.
Right? If your niece can handle that, please enjoy it.
Yes, please enjoy it while you can. I hope you have a good orthopedic doctor that you can call in a few years.
I know. I don't think everybody would be doing exotic card for a long time. I think that's one of the ones that like a couple years and
Yeah,
then we'll move on to something else.
exactly. I agree.
Unless they start doing it in a ball pit, that might be really cool.
Yeah, that could be a category of our competition.
Ball
The,
pit hard style.
I don't think I've tried a yogini in years. I'm gonna have to give that a try.
You please try it and then tell me what the trick is because I
I
can't do it.
forgot about that completely, yogini.
Right?
I fell out of that one once and yeah, right on my knee. But it
No.
hits
Oh,
first, so I have bad memories of it, but I can teach it. It's
oh,
okay.
I actually saw a really bad fall from a yogini once, someone on stage. And I think maybe that also is in my brain a little bit. Like I haven't processed that trauma. And yeah, it's oh wait, Mandy, I feel like I remember you talking about that before or something like that. When you just said that, I I feel like we've had this conversation before or something. Like it's yeah, that's
Yeah,
rough.
it was a while ago. Yeah, and every time I teach it too, I'm like, please put a mat underneath you because if something were to happen, you're gonna land right on your knee.
Yep.
It's gonna be flexed.
Mm, mm.
I don't know. I think that trick trauma is real. Like whether you fall from something or you see a bad fall from it, I really think it does something to our
Yes.
minds.
Oh my God. Funny story. I'll make this really short. At Crunch Gym, this was back in like 2008. I thought I was like total baddie. I'd been pulled in for me like what a year and a half, and I was like, I'm such a baddie. And I climbed to the top of the pole, and we were the first exercise, like literally the first thing, like monkey climbs to the top or whatever. Went to hook a leg, did not hook it on the pole, and I fell face first, face planted from like 10 feet, busted my chin, blood went everywhere. I hurt my back. I laid there on the floor. The instructors were amazing. The EMTs came and I think they thought it was a joke. You know what I mean? They were like, are we being punked right now? Like we're being called into a pole dancing class with girls in their, but it was real. I'm like laying there with like blood everywhere. They lifted me up. They put me on the stretcher. They took me to the ambulance, put me in the hospital. I got stitches. They did X-ray on my back, whatever, all the things. And I was traumatized after that, and this was early. I didn't even really have a career yet, but I was like very scared. I became afraid. I became afraid of falling off the pole. I became afraid of heights. And I was like, this isn't going to work. So I found this guy. His name was Per Andresen. He's in Brooklyn. And he's like a theater psychiatrist, all these things. Woo woo to the max. And I went there and I laid on the floor and I told him about my trauma, and he sat there and he just made these squiggles, like sigils almost, but like squiggly drawings, and then just like placed them on my chakras as I was telling him about this. And then we meditated, and then he laminated them for me and sent me home with these little squiggle drawings. So I would like lay there and put them on my chakras and do this meditation he taught me to like get myself over the trauma, because I was like, I can't move forward in my pole career if I'm afraid. I can't be afraid. You have to have an element of no fear in pole, right? Like you're not going to get very far if you're afraid. So I had to go through that. Like that trauma is real. The trauma is real.
Thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that up, and that's a really interesting and cool way that you got over it. I also have like fear of heights, and I prefer low flow because of that, just because I don't want to get hurt, but I do want to get over that fear.
Oh,
It takes work. It takes a lot of work. I think he moved back to wherever he came from in Europe. But if I know anybody that I can connect you with, there's so many people doing like amazing work like this out there in the world. You know what I mean? Like really amazing healers. But it really does work. But you have to put the work in to get over it.
Right. I only become more fearful as I get older too. So
poor thing. I'm
now
not.
or never.
I forget that, and I'd be trying to put you in high things when you come to my class. I'm sorry.
I know, like, give me the safety mat immediately.
That's awesome. Face your fears.
Yes.
Love it.
Right. That's why I keep coming to class too, because if I don't, I will become more and more scared. Yeah.
Yep.
This should be a whole separate episode, facing the fear.
Right? Yeah.
It could be. This could be a whole topic, like a whole conference. You know what I mean?
For real, because it is like if you look at children, they have no fear because nothing has happened to them yet. But so many things have happened to us as adults where we're like, nope.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's irrational. Yeah.
Totally. And I say that in my intro classes all of the time. And it's about the mindset, and we fuck ourselves up as adults all of the time because we're afraid.
Yeah.
I'm going to look bad. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to hurt myself. I'm not going to look good, and we just stop ourselves from doing so many things. And like kids, they're like, bah! They'll do anything. I don't care. Yeah.
Right. There was one exercise that I used to do, and I'll start doing it again. It just reminded me of it. I would climb as high as I could and just like be up there and just say, I am strong, and just remind myself that I am strong enough to be up there. Yeah.
Yes.
Back to my
Desensitize that fear. Get up there. Yeah. That's awesome.
fear. Oh, Cris, you're on mute.
I was gonna say, then you start doing it in an upside down ball and
Yes.
sit. I love it.
Oh,
Being upright and then upside down. Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Facing the floor. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no.
This is why I love pole dancers. You know what I mean? Because it's like only the badass survive. And you'll do some crazy shit that you never thought you would do, and like you're afraid of it, but you do it anyway.
You do it. Yes.
Such an adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It does bring us back to like what you were saying before. It's life changing, and we're kind of like the curators of our community to foster that in our students.
Yes,
And
exactly. We're doing amazing work.
yes.
We're doing amazing work out here in the world, making a difference one, death lay at a time.
So are you. Yes. OMG. Goodness, we talked about so much.
Yeah. I think that was all the questions that I had to ask.
Cool.
Yes. Is there anything else you would like to share with us or the community and listeners and viewers on YouTube about elevating their classes as instructors?
I would love to just end with pole dancing changes lives,
Sure does.
and like we're all nodding because it changed ours in some way. So if you are in the beautiful role of being a pole dance instructor, take it seriously because like you just said, Mandy, you're curating change in people's lives and it is real. It's a real thing. And it's really cool to embrace your role as a teacher and it feels good. And I would just say like take it seriously and do have fun, like have so much fun with it, but like do the work and like continually educate yourself in little bits and bobs and consuming of knowledge in any inspiration comes from anywhere, so just be open to it and continue your education and your training as a pole instructor and continue, to make the world a better place.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And you never know when you'll see those students again. You and Mandy are a perfect example.
Yes.
You never
Yeah.
know. You never know. Beautiful. It's
Mhm.
fascinating.
Yes.
Yay.
I guess on that note, we should thank everyone for listening to or watching this episode of Pull on the Call podcast. My name is Mandy Mac.
And Cris Rivers. Ooh,
I'm not
sweat.
even wearing any pants.
I think she wins.